everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a huge New Year's book haul. It's almost the end of February and I have been so good when it comes to buying books. I've barely bought any. However, I do have quite a few books that I'd like to share with you guys that I did get for Christmas and that I've ordered and they've arrived since the new year has started. A good stack, but I just wanted to share with you guys some of the new additions to my shelf and additions to my TBR. So without further ado, let me just show you the books that I've gotten in the last few months. So the first set of books that I'm going to show you guys are books that I got for Christmas. The first section I'm going to show you are books that I got from my parents. It's pretty much all I asked for Christmas for books, so let's just get into it. So the first book that I got for Christmas was Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. So from what I can tell from this book, it is the first book in a new series that is a Japanese inspired high fantasy. It tells the story of two characters. One is a character that has a forbidden type of shapeshifter magic and she's able to shift into the form of a fox, and she has been tasked with hiding a ancient scroll that has a particular type of magic in it and keeping it safe. The other character is a secret assassin that is under orders to find this scroll and take it. The two of them end up meeting in unlikely circumstances and decide to work together to find the scroll, even though one of them has it and one of them is searching for it, and order to kill the person that does have it. So there's a lot of deception and it seems like it's going to be a really high-paced, high-intensity fantasy story that I'm really looking forward to. I'm excited for the ancient Japanese inspired setting because that's one of my favorite eras of history and something I've not seen very much in YA, so I'm excited to see what happens with it. The next book that I got for Christmas I saw on BookTube quite a bit before the holiday season, and so I asked for it. It is Seafire by Natalie C. Parker. I don't know a whole lot about this book, but all I know really is that it's a tale of sisters and pirates, which instantly hooked me because I love anything to do with pirates, and I'm really excited for this. It seems like it's going to be a very, again, high-intensity, fast-paced story. It tells the story of a crew of girls and women who have lost family members to a certain regime that is like controlling this world, and they are off to seek revenge and to live their lives. But all of a sudden the main character, Caledonia's second-in-command, gets hurt by a soldier, I guess. It's called a bullet, who's looking to defect, and she has to try to decide whether or not she's going to let this boy onto her crew to help them take down this world. It's the first in a trilogy and I'm really looking forward to reading it. So the next two books that I got for Christmas go along the same lines as Seafire, that are like watery, piratey stories, and they are Daughter of the Pirate King and Daughter of the Siren Queen by Trisha Levenseller. So this is a duology as of right now. I don't know if there's going to be a third, but it's a book and its sequel all about another lady pirate. And I've seen on the back of this that the main character is described as like a female Jack Sparrow, which if any of you guys know me, know that Pirates of the Caribbean was like one of my favorite movies of all time. And I love that type of character, like the arrogant, bumbling idiot kind of character. So if she's anything like this, but like a girl and a badass, I'm really down for it. I've heard a lot of really good things about this series. I've heard a lot of people like unexpectedly really enjoying this series, so I'm really looking forward to reading it. So the last three books that I got for Christmas from my parents are in a trilogy. The fourth book is coming out at the end of this year, and it's the first trilogy that I read this year, and it's probably one of my favorites that I've so far read. A lot going on with this one, but it is the Three Dark Crowns series by Kendar Blake. So there's 3 Dark Crowns, 1 Dark Throne, and 2 Dark Reigns. The last one, 5 Dark Fates, is coming out in September. I'm very excited. Anyway, 3 Dark Crowns tells the story of the island of Fenburn, which every year the queen gives birth to a set of triplets. The children are raised together as infants, and then as soon as they turn, I believe, 6 years old, they are each sent to different foster homes on the island because each of them has a different type of magic that is found on this island. There's a naturalist, a poisoner, and an elementist. The naturalists are people who have the ability to control and manipulate wildlife and animals in nature. They typically have an animal familiar that follows them around, which I think is really cool. The elementalists, as you can imagine from the name, are able to control all the elements and create storms, that kind of thing, which I think again is very cool. And then the last kind are poisoners, and they have the innate ability of creating very powerful poisons, and they're also immune to different, or almost all poisons. Once the girls turn 16, an entire chain of events start to happen every single year in which delegates from the mainland come to compete to be the new queen's king consort, and the queens have to battle to the death to become the new ruler of Fenburn. They have to fight to the death, and the winner becomes the queen, and the cycle repeats itself again and again. This series is dark, it is twisted, it's got so many turns and so many plot twists. I love all the characters. I think Arsenault is my favorite, but I love it so much. I devoured this series over New Year's, and I just cannot wait for the last one to come out. The next few books that I got for Christmas I got for my lovely boyfriend Tyler, so thank you for that. But the first one that I got was And I Darken by Kirsten White. I've heard a ton about this book, but I don't really know what it's really about. I've just heard a lot of really good things about it, and I'm really excited to read it. It tells the story of Lada, I think is how you say her name, and Radu, who are two siblings who were abandoned by their father to be raised in the Ottoman courts, which I think is an awesome setting. That, again, I love that time period, so I'm really excited to read it. Lada is just biding her time, hoping for the moment when she can claim her birthright and get revenge for the events that have harmed her, whereas Radu has learned to love the Ottoman courts and the Ottoman Empire and has turned it into his home. When he befriends the young son of the Sultan, the three of them have to try and work together with their conflicting interests to try and make their way through this world. And I'm really excited to read this. Again, it's something that I've never really read before. It's not a time period that I've ever read before, so I'm really excited about that. And again, it just seems like another intense fantasy that I can't wait to get my fingers into. And the next two books that I got from Tyler were another book and its sequel, which the third one again will be coming out hopefully soon. But that is Scythe and Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. So I've talked about Scythe a couple times so far on my channel. I mentioned it during my Try a Chapter tag. If you haven't seen that, I read the first chapter of it, and I'm hopefully going to be reading it very soon. But Scythe tells the story of two apprentice scythes. In this world, there is no death, so there is no hunger, there's no poverty, there's no disease, there's no misery, and the only way that the population can be controlled and culled is through scythes, the only people that kill in this world. The two main characters, Citra and Rowan, have been chosen to be apprentice scythes, and in this they have to go to a special academy to learn the art of being a scythe, and if they don't master this skill, they will lose their own lives. So it tells the story of these two characters trying to reconcile this world. After reading the first chapter, I'm very excited to get into it. I could really tell that in this world, scythes are like the only fear that many of these people have. They don't have to fear about war, they don't have to fear death, they only have to fear a scythe. And the scythes seem to be like held up amongst gods almost in this world. They're revered, and they are feared above all. I'm really excited to read it, and then I've got the sequel ready to go, so that's exciting. But hopefully these are going to be some of my next reads. I just realized that I forgot the book that I'm actually reading right now is another book that I got from my parents. I was trying to wonder why my stack was so small. The other book that I got from my parents was The Smoke Thieves by Sally Green. I've already started reading this. I'm not too far into it, but so far I'm liking it. It's been described as a mixture of like Six of Crows and Game of Thrones, which is really cool. It follows a strange cast of characters as they're going through a type of heist story, but it's set in a world that's very similar to Game of Thrones, I've heard. The smoke in this world is the aftermath of killing a demon. It's called demon smoke, and I guess depending on the demon that you kill, the smoke that is released when they die have different properties and is sold on like a black market type situation. So it's very illegal to kill demons and to be demon hunters, but the smoke is very valuable. I'll read you the little excerpt that tells you the descriptions of the different characters. It says, meet the smoke thieves, a shrewd princess whose father is plotting against her, an idealistic soldier turned traitor, a radicalized servant on a quest to avenge his family, a streetwise demon hunter in need of money, and a charming thief with no clue about his true identity. So that's where it kind of gets the Six of Crows vibes that I'm feeling, and that I've heard it described as, but so far I'm really enjoying it. It's quite big, so I'm excited about that. I love big fantasy, and I can't wait to let you guys know what I think about it. I'll let you guys know how it goes and my final thoughts during my wrap-up. Okay, and the next set of books are books that I've bought myself or have ordered previously, and they've arrived in the last couple of months. So the first book that I picked up on a whim at my bookstore. It just looked kind of interesting, but I've never heard of it, and it's called Dividing Eden by Joelle Charbonneau, I think is how you say it. But this tells the story of two twins who are royalty. They are the youngest children to the King of Eden. The twins are called Karis and Andreas, and they were never meant to rule, so they've never really considered it to be a part of their future. But after a horrible event in which the king and their older brother, the crown prince, were killed, the world of Eden is kind of thrown up in the air, and a decision has to be made on who's going to rule. The council of this court is trying to scheme and just gain power in the way that they think is the best way. And so Karis and Andreas are forced to compete in the trials of virtuous succession, sorry. And they have to compete and fight in order to determine which is the twin that is destined to rule. It seems really interesting. I've never really seen one in which siblings are the ones that are forced to fight, especially twins. So I'm really excited to see how this is going to go. I'm excited to see the dynamic between the two twins, because it seems like they're characters that have always taken care of each other, so seeing that twist where they're forced to fight is going to be probably really heartbreaking, but I'm excited to read it. The next book that I bought myself in the last couple months was a novella called The Queens of Fenber. There's actually 2 novellas in here. They're prequel novellas to the Three Dark Crowns series that I've heard answer a lot of questions about the Three Dark Crowns series, so I'm very excited to read through this. It won't take me very long. But the first story is about the 3 queens from the Three Dark Crowns series as children, back when they lived together. And then the other story is about a legendary oracle queen, who was a queen that wasn't a naturalist, elementalist, or a poisoner, but a seer. So she seems to be like the only one that they ever had. And there was a tragedy involved in her reign, so they always kind of just culled seeing queens for the rest of time, basically, in this series. So basically it's explaining why seers are dangerous and why they are considered to be bad in this world. So I'm excited to read a bit more about this. I'm probably going to wait to read this until closer to the release of Five Dark Fates, just because I want to save it and kind of like help the wait go along a bit better. But yeah, very excited about this. The next book that arrived in an order that I placed before New Year's was Everless by Sarah Holland. I've heard a lot about this series, and I know the newest one just came out recently. I don't remember what it's called, but this is another high fantasy story that is centered around the idea of time as currency, which I think is really interesting. It tells the story of Jules Ember, who her father used to be servants in Everless, which is the palace estate of the Gerling family, until a fateful event makes them forced to leave. But Jules is desperate to earn time, so she ends up returning in a very tumultuous period at Everless, where the youngest lord of this family is being prepared to wed the queen of this world. So there are a bunch of different turns of events, and that's about all I know about the series, but I'm interested in the concept of time as currency. I think that's a really unique idea, and one that I think can bring a lot of new things to this series, so I'm very excited. The next book that I picked up for myself was The Glass Spare by Lauren DiStefano. And I've heard a lot of things about this, like mixed things, but it seems like it's a good book that's going to be right up my alley, so I'm excited to read it. It tells the story of Will, who is a princess in this world. She's the 4th child and only daughter to the king in this world, and she was raised in secret to be a spy for her father. And she's always trying to prove herself to be more worthy of a higher position. But one day there's an accident, and she finds out that she can turn people into gemstones. And since a tragedy kind of evolves from this after she's attacked and her powers come out, she flees home to try and learn the truth about her condition. I'm excited about this. I think that's an interesting concept, and I'm excited to read it. Again, same as the rest of them. The next book that I picked up for myself was Ash Princess by Lauren Sebastian. And this book is similar to the rest that I don't know a ton about it, but I've heard some good things. And it tells the story of Theodosia, whose mother was the Fire Queen in this world. And one day her mother was killed, and the Kaiser kind of takes over her world. Theodosia was forced to stay in the palace by the Kaiser and is basically a tool of ridicule and is just there for the court's own amusement. One day the Kaiser asks her to do something unthinkable, and she ends up with blood on her hands, and any hope of her reclaiming her throne is kind of lost. One thing she realizes, though, is that her mind is as powerful as a wit and more powerful than any sword. So it seems like it's going to be very political and very, very thought-based, which I'm excited about, because a lot of the books that I've been reading lately have been very action-oriented, so I'm excited to see where this one's gonna go. There's a couple sequels already out for this, so I'm excited to get my hands on another new trilogy that I'm hopefully going to love. And finally, the last and most recent book that I've acquired since the start of 2019 is King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. So I pre-ordered this back in the summer, so it arrived at the end of January. It arrived a couple days late, which I was very upset about. But either way, I just uploaded my King of Scars vlog, or at least it should be uploaded by the time that this video goes out. I loved it so much. It is the 5th book in the Grishaverse by Leigh Bardugo, the first book in a new duology surrounding Nikolai, who's one of the characters from the first series, the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and my favorite character probably from that series. And I just love this so much. It was a great mashup of a bunch of characters from both the Shadow and Bone series and the Six of Crows duology, and I think it is a great addition to the series, showing you really what the fallout was from the Shadow and Bone trilogy and how the characters have changed and evolved, and I loved it so much. It's the only book out of this entire thing that I've read already, so it's the last book that I ended up getting in the beginning of 2019. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed that 2019 book haul. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know if you have any thoughts on any of the books that I've just hauled. And if you are new here and you enjoyed this, please subscribe. I put out new videos every Wednesday and Friday, and I hope you guys have a lovely day. Bye bye.